Hi, everybody. Welcome to this third installment of a series that I'm calling the Cult Leaders Toolbox, where we explore different tactics that cults use to captivate their followers and, in a lot of cases, to hold them captive. So today is episode 3, and it's entitled Losing Your Identity. Cults love cookie cutters. They thrive on conformity, control, and fear. And anything that makes you unique or different about yourself, they just want to squelch it. So they use all different types of tactics, things like dress codes, special languages, and even in some cases, name changes, personality traits, opinions, things like emotions, suppressing emotions, living under fear and oppressive rules, you name it, they pull it right out of their toolbox. So, we are going to have a little story time. And yes, it is story time here at Coffee Cults and Crafts, or Triple C, as I like to call it. So, today's story is about a guy. We'll call him Ray. Ray was born in 1931. His father was a Presbyterian minister, and Ray grew up very, very religious. So when he got older, he got a bachelor's degree in philosophy in 1952. And then in 1956, he decided to enter the ministry, and he wanted to be a Presbyterian minister. So he entered the Union Seminary School, and he got married around that time. And when he entered seminary, he changed his mind, decided that he wanted to major in music. So he switched to the University of Colorado, where he received his master's degree in music in 1956. So he was married and he had two children. And then he had very various jobs in the music industry. He was a singer, and he ended up working at the University of Alabama as a teacher. And he was shortly fired after having an affair with a male student. And that broke up his marriage as well. So he, over the years, he really struggled with his sexual orientation and being brought up so religious. There was a lot of shame involved in it. So he had been openly gay for a while and then kind of went back, you know, in the closet. And then at one point, he came out to his father and he was completely rejected by his father. So in 1972, his father had passed away, and it really hit him hard, and he went into a very deep depression and was hospitalized. And he met a nurse, and her name was Bonnie Nettles. And if you haven't figured it out quite yet, um, yes, his name was Marshall Applewhite, Herf, they called him. And, yeah, his name was not Ray. He ended up being known as Doe later on, and Nettie was known as T. So, Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti. So, yes, and many of you know the rest of the story. They ended up kind of just leaving their families and cohabitating together. They had a completely platonic relationship. They started a movement. They were like nomads for a while, and Bonnie convinced Herf, or Doe, that they had met in a past life and that an extraterrestrial had basically told her that he was called to be this big religious leader. And eventually they got really into the UFO thing and mysticism. They had many classes. They started getting a following, and one thing led to another. And she ended up passing away of cancer. And he led 39 people to take their lives. And at the time that they did that, they did a video of what their plan was, and they all had smiles on their faces. They all had blank looks and stares, and they were dressed the same. They looked the same. They, in some cases, they removed body parts that had to do with reproductive system. It's just awful, awful, awful. And it was a slow boil as far as, like, the frog is boiled in the pot, but they became this unit that was just this group think, and it was just heartbreaking for, their family members. And just as an aside, um T, they ended up calling her, was in contact with her own daughter throughout this whole thing, but they were not allowed to contact their families. They, like, basically had to give up their life, their identity, and their speech, and anything that made them unique. And they all looked, very asexual. They had the same haircut, and their everything was controlled. So when they, had a mass taking over their own lives, they just they did it. They were completely convinced that a UFO was coming to take them away, and that they would be taken up, and that they would be transformed into these beings. So they had no thought of their earthly bodies. They called themselves vehicles. And if you think about it, many religions do that, especially the extreme religions that we call cults. In some cases, like Scientology, they call their body, meat body, or terminals, or you just don't take any thought of your own emotions, your safety, your body. And the cult that I was in, we kind of were known as like vessels, just empty vessels for a spirit to fill. And you just didn't have any thought of your own life. And in a lot of cases, um, in your family either. Just you were just given this family, but they didn't mean a lot to you, which is really, really, really sad. So, anyways, I wanted to just give you that food for thought, and I have a little announcement. So after this video is done, if you're seeing this right when it drops, right when I download it, you'll have to wait maybe about 12 hours, but we're doing a follow-up live discussion about Heaven's Gate, and that's what this cult was called. And we're going to do a deep dive with myself, Clearwater Chad, and Vanessa from the Degraded Daughters of Dianetics. And they both have done a lot of research. Vanessa really has tied it into comparisons of Scientology and Heaven's Gate together, and a lot of the similarities. So stay tuned for that. It'll be in the live section of all of our channels, and we will hope to see you soon and discuss it. And if you're watching the replay, please just like, comment, and if you haven't subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe. So until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye bye. Bye bye.